بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا، إنك تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Welcome again to our Tajweed class, and today we are going to talk about the ruling of the Ra. The Ra is a very important letter in Arabic in general, and also in Quran, because for this letter we have different rulings. We have this letter sometimes is light, and in other times is heavy, and sometimes, especially in the Quran, it can be heavy and it can be light. That's why I want you to focus a little bit. Do I have to allow to someone to come? Oh no, no, because I heard something. Yeah. So we have to pay attention to this to those rules, because they are really very subtle, and some of them are very obvious, but the others are very subtle. So we have to pay attention to them. Starting with our introduction, we have three general cases for the Ra. The first case when the Ra is heavy, and we call that in Arabic we call that mufakham, and the sound of this mufakham, or this heavy Ra, it's going to be like ara, ara, or aru, aru. And the heavy we have the heavy Ra in 8 cases. And the other case when the Ra is light, or when the Ra is muraqqaq. And the sound of the Ra when it's muraqqaq, something like ri, ri. We're gonna go through the whole cases, or the whole specific situations. And the Ra is light in 4 cases. In the Quran, we have also the 3 case in which we have the option to do the Ra as a heavy letter or as a light letter, and that is also in 2 cases. Now we are going to start with the heavy Ra, and we are going also to get some practice to try to pronounce those heavy Ra in the specific cases. I'm gonna do that a little bit bigger. So, as I said, the heavy Ra is in 8 cases. I'm gonna go through them. Some of them are very obvious, and the other we have to pay attention, and I might need to explain them expertly, like separately on a Word document. So the first one, when the Ra is itself has the fatha, it's mufakham. This is a general rule. When the Ra with fatha, like the letter itself has a fatha, so we make the Ra heavy, and we say Ramadan, Ra, Ra, Ramadan, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. I'm gonna open the Word document. And I'm going to write some examples and ask you to demonstrate them. Okay, starting with you, Brother Qasim, would you say the first and second example?
Ramadan.
Try to make the letter heavier. Ra, ra. It's not ra, 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 ra.
Okay. Ramadan.
Uh-huh.
Rabbi.
Rabbi, ra,
Rabbi.
ra.
Rabbi.
Uh-huh. Okay. Junaid.
ربنا.
Very good.
And راق.
Raq. Very good. Okay, Abdurrahman.
The first one?
Yeah, starting from first.
Ramadan.
Uh-huh.
Rabbi.
Say it again, I didn't hear you.
Ramadan. Rabbi.
Ra, Rabbi.
Rabbi.
Uh-huh. Okay, Sulaiman.
ربنا
Uh-huh.
راق.
Very good. The brother, Bacon Foundation.
Bismillah. Ramadan.
MashaAllah, Sheikh Aslan is here. Uh-huh.
Rabbana. Raq.
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 Very good. Okay, so that is the first rule. The second rule is very similar to that. The ra itself is in the state of the sukoon. The ra itself is with the state of sukoon, but the letter before is with fatha. And you have to bear in mind that we have this general rule in Arabic that I wouldn't say that in every situation, but in most situations, when a letter is in the state of sukoon, we ignore this letter. We don't look at this letter because sukoon, it's the opposite of movement, and that's why we don't consider this letter. So we look at the letter before, and we apply this rule in ra. So if we have a letter with if we have a ra with sukoon, we don't look at the ra itself. We look at the letter before. So when the ra it's sakina with a state of sukoon, but it's preceded by a letter with fatha, it's going also to be mufakham. It's going also to be heavy, and we say Maryam. I'm gonna write that also here. Okay, Qasim again. Every one of you read one example, please. All of them. Read all of them, just in order to practice them.
Okay. Maryam.
Maryam.
Maryam. Maryam.
Uh-huh.
Could you read the second two and then I read after?
Marhama. Sorry if you don't have this tashkil here. Marhama. Bardana.
Okay. Marhama. Marhama. Marhama.
Uh-huh.
Bardana.
Try to make it heavier. Bardana.
Bardana.
Uh-huh. Junaid.
مريم.
Uh-huh.
مرحمة.
Very good.
بردنا.
Uh-huh. Abdurrahman.
مريم. مرحمة. بردنا.
Uh-huh. Sulaiman.
مريم مرحمة بردنا.
Uh-huh. Sheikh Al-Salan.
Marhama. Maryama. Maryama.
Uh-huh.
Marhama.
Uh-huh.
Bardana.
Very good. The third rule is very similar. When we have two letters in the state of sukoon, you know that this rule is very rare in Arabic, because the general rule that we are not allowed to have two letters which following each other and they are with the state of sukoon. But in some situation we are forced to have that. Why? Because we stop on a word which is originally not with the state of sukoon, but when we stop on a word, we have to make it or we have to transform it to the sukoon. So we're gonna have in this situation 2 second letter. So we don't look at them at all. We look at the first letter, which has haraka. So if we have the ra itself in the state of sukoon, like wal asr, and the letter before the ra and preceded by a second letter other than ya, you have to be careful, other than ya, because if we have ya, it's going to be muraqqaq, and we're gonna go through that in the next session. Not in the next session, in the next slide. So if the ra itself with the state of sukoon, it's preceded by a second letter other than ra, and this second letter is preceded by a maftuh letter, it's going to be also mufakham. The example for that is wal asr. You all know this surah, wal asr. What do I have here? I have ra with the state of sukoon. Why it's with the state of sukoon? Because I stop on it. Whereas if I were to complete, who completes this this verse for me? Like who connects this verse with the next verse? I'm asking you if my question is not clear. Like who can connect this verse with the next verse?
والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر.
Is the ra here in this situation heavy or light?
Light.
Light. Why? Because I didn't stop on it, and in this situation the ra is not sakin anymore. The ra is with the kasra, and we're gonna see after a minute that the ra with kasra is light, not heavy. Whereas here, when I stop, the ra is with the state of sukoon. So I say wal asr, wal asr, wal asr. So as I said, the ra itself is sakin, the letter before the ra is sakin, and the letter before the sakin letter is with fatha. So I will say the ra is mufakham as well. I have a similar example with the Surah Al-Asr as well, but the letter is with dhamma, not with kasra. Okay, let me concentrate on this example because we're gonna cover the same thing in a bit. So let's practice this example here, starting with you, Qasim.
wal asr.
Wal asr. Give the sad, all of you guys, give the sad more time because we covered that in like 2 lessons ago, I think. This sad is rakhu, isn't? We said that this letter, sad, is rakhu. And when the rakhu letters are in the state of sukoon, they take more time. So we don't say wal asr, wal asr, wal asr, wal asr.
Okay. Wal asr.
عبد الرحمن.
والعصر.
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 سليمان.
والعصر.
Make the ra heavier. والعصر.
والعصر.
Very good. As-salam.
والعصر.
Very good. Abu Bakr, if you would like to participate with us.
والعصر.
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 No.
عر.
والعصر.
والعصر.
Okay, good for now. Now, so the general rule here that we either have the ra itself with fatha. It seems maybe a little bit complicated, but it's not complicated. So either the ra with fatha, or it's preceded by a letter with fatha, or it's preceded by a letter with sakin, and this sakin is preceded by fatha. So we are in the whole situation, in the whole three situations, we are looking for the fatha. And the fatha, it's either on the ra, or either on the letter before the ra, or either on the letter before the second letter before the ra. So our concerns now is fatha. Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay. Now, in the next three situations, the same thing with dhamma, the same rule with dhamma. So now, when the ra itself has a dhamma, it's going to be also mufakham, and we have this example here: katharu, ru, ru. So the ra itself has dhamma. So we say katharu. Ru. I'm not going to say that. Okay, let's practice those examples here. Qasim.
كفروا
أرو كفروا.
كفروا روحنا
أروحنا.
روحنا okay مروا
مروا.
مروا
Very good. عبد الرحمن.
كفروا روحنا
روحنا.
روحنا
Say it again.
مروا
مروا.
مروا
سليمان.
كفروا روحنا مروا.
Very good. السلام.
كفروا
أرو. It's not رو.
كفروا روحنا مروا.
Very good. أبو بكر.
كفروا روحنا مروا.
مروا. Don't say the English را. مروا. مروا.
مروا.
Okay, it's better. Now, as I said, it's very similar to this situation here. When the ra in the state of sukoon and it's preceded by a letter with dhamma, it's going to be also mufakham. Al-Qur'an. Al-Qur'an. Okay, let's practice those two examples. Qasim.
القرآن.
Don't say al-Qura. Al-Qura, no. Al-Qur'an.
القرآن.
Don't say ala. Al-Qur'an.
القرآن. الفرقان.
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 عبد الرحمن.
القرآن الفرقان.
Sorry, I have Junaid as well, so I didn't pick you on the last time. So just shout that you are here, because you are not in the screen is smaller than the number of the people. So if you see this order, you see this screen, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, so please go in this order. Like I don't need to say the names. Just go in this order in order not to forget anyone. Okay.
I don't see an order.
You don't see this order here?
We have our own order.
Yeah, but you don't see the screen here? This screen.
No, we don't see that one.
Ah, okay. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna try to include all of you. Okay, Suleiman.
القرآن
Uh-huh.
الفرقان.
Okay, Al-Salam.
القرآن الفرقان
Al-Fur. Give the ra also a little bit of time. Al-Furqan.
الفرقان.
Okay, Abu Bakr.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Al-Qur'an. No, sorry. Al-Qur'an.
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 Uh-huh.
Al-Furqan.
Okay, Junaid.
القرآن الفرقان.
Very good. Okay, now similar also to situation number 3, when the ra in the state of sukoon and it's preceded by a second letter, this second letter is also preceded by a letter with dhamma. It's going to be also heavy. The same thing, normally we don't have 2 letters in the state of sukoon in a single word, but when we stop on a word and when we stop on a letter with mutaharrik letter, and we are forced to make this letter with a state of sukoon. So we are in this situation, we are going to have 2 second letters. As I said in Surah Al-Asr, wal-Asr, it was here in this situation number 3. Now, inna al-insana lafi khusr. Now, I have an example, this example from the situation number 3, and this our example from the situation number 6. Going back to you, Qasim.
Okay. خسر.
خسر.
خسر. الصبر.
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 Now I have a different order. Junaid.
خسر
Uh-huh.
الصبر.
Very good. But don't make the ra as a qalqala. Don't say as-sabr. As-sabr.
الصبر.
Sulaiman.
خسر الصبر.
Arsalan.
خسر.
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 No, it's not khusr. Khusr. No, khusr.
خسر. الصبر.
Abu Bakr.
خسر.
خسر.
خسر. Yeah. الصبر.
Abdul Rahman.
خسر.
It's not khusr. Khusr. A lot of people when they read this phrase, they say khusr, khusu. You are making dhamma. Khusr.
خسر. صبر.
As-sabr.
الصبر.
Okay, very good. Now this rule here, number 7, we have to pay attention for that. So they said when the ra is sakin and it's preceded by incidental kasra, whether this kasra is pronounced or implied. What does it mean? So let's take this example here. Irji'u. This is a little bit linguistic thing, so we have to pay attention for that. So the rule says the rule says when the ra is sakina, but it's preceded by incidental kasra. It's not a real kasra. What does it mean? So the ra is sakina. Our general rule is, if a letter is sakin, we don't consider this letter. We consider the letter before. The letter before is hamza. We call this hamza hamzat wasl, because we bring this hamza because we have a second letter. In Arabic, we don't start a word with a second letter, so we bring this letter, this hamza, in order to be able to pronounce this word. We say I. But because this hamza, it's not a real hamza, it's not a real kasra, it doesn't have a real kasra, because we brought this hamza just in order to be able to pronounce this word, we call that arid. We call that in Arabic arid, and they translated that in English into incidental. Arid means in Arabic like it's not always there. What is our evidence that it's not always there? Our evidence that if we have a word before this word, we don't pronounce the hamza anymore. For example, ثُمَّ ارْجِعُوا, ثُمَّ. I don't pronounce now. I don't pronounce this hamza because I don't need it anymore. Why I don't need it anymore? Because I don't have a second letter. I consider now the two word as one word, and I don't start the word with sukoon. Guys, if just any of you would switch on their camera, just in order to have the feeling that I'm speaking with people. I'm not speaking with the screen, because yeah, that's fine, Abdurrahman. Okay, so ثُمَّ ارْجِعُوا. Now, the general rule says, if I have a ra with a state of sukoon, I look at the letter before. The letter before is kasra. According to my general rule, this ra must be light, not heavy. But because this kasra is not original, it's arid, I just brought this kasra in order to be able to pronounce the word. So it doesn't exist. In this situation, the ra is definitely heavy. There is no other option. The ra is definitely heavy. So I say irji'u, even though I have a kasra before the ra, I pronounce the ra as a heavy letter. Why? Because this kasra, it's not original. And in the next slide, you're gonna see one of the conditions that that I have a light ra, that the kasra before it's original. So with this condition, I'm excluding this situation here. So, and they said, look, they said that the second part of this rule, just in order to understand this book, whether pronounced or implied. That means whether this kasra is pronounced as here, as this example, I'm pronouncing the kasra, I'm pronouncing that, or it's implied. I don't pronounce it, but I know that it exists. Like here, الذي ارتضى. In this situation, I'm not pronouncing the kasra. Why? Because I have two connected word. I can't say الذي ارتضى. So it's implied. It's here. It exists in my mind, or in the written book. So it's implied. In both situations, the ra, it's heavy. I'm gonna write both examples. If you didn't understand that linguistically, please ask me, because as I said, this hamza is a specific linguistic rule in the Arabic language in general, not just in the Quran. Maybe I had to say, for those of you who don't know Arabic, I had to say, or I should have said, that in Arabic we are not allowed to start with the second letter, whereas in other language we can start with the second letter. We say in English we say small, small, but in Arabic you can say rji'u, rji'u, like here. That the original word is like raja'a. The original verb start with ra, but I can't say rji'u. That's why I have to bring another letter which start with kasra normally in order to be able to pronounce this letter. Just for the people of you who don't or haven't studied Arabic before. So let's practice those examples. Abdurrahman.
ارجعوا الذي ارتضى الذي ارتضى
جنيد.
ارجعوا الذي ارتضى ارتضى.
سليمان.
ارجعوا الذي ارتضى.
أرسلان.
ارجعوا الذي ارتضى.
الذي ارتضى.
الذي ارتضى.
أبو بكر.
ارجعوا الذي ارتضى.
قاسم.
Say
it again.
ارجعوا الذي ارتضى.
الذي ارتضى.
الذي ارتضى.
Okay, very good. Now the last situation in the last situation when the ra with mufakham, when the ra is heavy, when the ra has a sukoon, when the ra, you have now to have a little bit of linguistic understanding. The ra itself has a sukoon. It's preceded by a letter with kasra. The ra, it's preceded by a letter with kasra. What is our general rule now? What is our general rule? If the ra is sakina, do we consider the ra? Hello? Do we consider the ra if the ra is sakina?
In terms of?
Do we consider the ra in terms of heaviness or lightness?
No.
We didn't consider. What do?
You look at the letter before?
We look at the letter before. The letter before is in the state of kasra. What is our general rule now? The ra must be
light.
The ra must be light because like kasra suits to the lightness. But now the letter which follows the ra is an elevated letter. خص ضغط قض. We covered that last time. It's not about being with fatha or kasra. I don't consider the letter after the ra with fatha or kasra. It's about being elevated. And now we have a conflict here. We have a clash here. The ra is between two opposite things. With a light letter, which is with kasra, and that will invite the ra to be light, and with a heavy or elevated letter, which invites the ra to be what? Heavy. But the heavy now in this situation is stronger than the light, So the ra is heavy. Have you understood this rule? And this elevated letter is not maksur. It's not with the state of kasra. This elevated letter, it's not with the state of kasra. Why? Because if it's were in the state of kasra, I'm gonna have another rule which we are going to cover in the third slide. So please pay attention to this rule here, because it's really very subtle. The ra itself is sakin. I don't consider the ra itself because it's sakin. So I look at the letter before. The letter before is maksur, the state of kasra. Now, if I didn't look at the letter after the ra, I would say, okay, this is light. But the letter after the ra is with the state, not with the state, it's an elevated letter with the state of fatha or dhamma, not with kasra. So now I have a clash. Linguistically, I mean. Linguistically, I have a clash. The letter before ra is light. The letter after ra is heavy. The heavy is stronger than the light. So the ra is definitely heavy. I'm trying to explain that for you linguistically. But if you were to ask an Arabic person at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they wouldn't say irsada. They wouldn't think about it. They don't even know why they say the ra with the state of mufakham. They just say that naturally. But now, as linguist or as a student of Tajweed, we have to understand the reasons behind that. I'm gonna write those examples here. Would you like to prefer reading from here? Maybe it's better for you because you have the whole tashkil and so on. Okay, Qasim. Qasim, your microphone is muted.
Is it okay now?
Yeah.
وإرصاد
وإرصاد.
وإرصاد قرطاس.
قرطاس. Stop on when you stop on a word, stop with sukun, please.
Okay. قرطاس. فرقة.
فرقة. فرقة.
فرقة.
فرقة.
فرقة.
Very good. Abdurrahman.
Is this the only time when you look at the following letter to decide whether it's mufakham or ra'a?
It's not the only time. It's not the only time because we're gonna cover in this third slide. We're gonna cover a rule in which you look also at the next or at the following letter.
وإرصاد قرطاس.
قرطاس.
Oh yeah. قرطاس. فرقة.
Very good. Sulaiman.
وإرصاد قرطاس فرقة.
Salam.
وإرصاد.
إرصاد. Because you have two fatha, don't you? So when you stop on them, you stop on them with mad.
نعم. وإرصاد.
وإرصاد two harakas.
وإرصاد قرطاس فرقة.
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 Very good. Abu Bakr.
بسم الله. وإرصاد.
وإرصاد. Not إرصاده. وإرصاد.
وإرصاد قرطاس فرقة.
فرقة. Very good. Okay. I hope that those examples are clear. Now I'm going to move to the case of tarqiq. To the case of tarqiq, I have also 4 situations in which the ra is muraqqaqa. The first rule, when the ra itself is with a state of kasra, the ra itself with a state of kasra, we had those examples before, like kari. Before we have those examples, you have to bear in mind that the sound of the ra with the state of tarqiq, in the case of tarqiq, it's something like ri, 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 kareem, rih, rih. I'm going to talk about the whole situations, and after that we will practice all those examples together. Now, as I said, the first situation is when the ra with the state of kasra, I pronounce the ra light. I pronounce the ra lightly. The second case, it's also similar to the tafkhim case. When the ra itself with the state of sukoon, I don't consider the sukoon. I don't look at the sukoon. So I look at the letter before the sukoon. So it's preceded by an original kasra. I told you that in the tarqiq, in this case, I'm going to have this condition. It's original kasra. Why? Who answers me? What is the opposite of an original kasra?
Add
Pardon?
the incidental.
The incidental kasra. So something like irtaba, it's not an original kasra. So, and it's preceded by an original kasra, and it's not followed by an elevated letter. So we have 3 conditions here. First of all, the ra itself is the state of sukoon. It's preceded by an original kasra, and it's not followed by an elevated letter. Why? What is the example of a ra with sukoon preceded by an original kasra, but it's followed by an elevated letter? Qirtas. Here we have those examples. Sukoon, I have a kasra before, but after the ra I have an elevated letter. Now this condition excludes those examples. In this situation, I have the ra in the state of lightness. So I have a light ra, I say fir'aun, fir'aun. Similarly to the mufakham situations, I have also similar situation here. When the ra has a sukoon, I don't consider the ra. It's preceded by a non-elevated letter. It's preceded by a non-elevated letter. This letter is also with the state of sukoon, but it's not elevated. And this letter is preceded by a kasra letter or a maksur letter with the state of kasra. In this situation, the ra is going to be also light. We have to pay attention to this letter, because if this letter were to be elevated, I'm going to have another rule, which we are going to cover here. So this letter, it's not elevated. It's a normal letter. The ra itself is sukoon, with a state of sukoon. It's preceded by a letter with a state of sukoon, but it's not elevated. This letter is preceded by a maksur letter. What is the result of that? Our ra is light. 2 examples from the Quran. Hijr, hijr. A lot of people confuse when they come to this example. Maybe their natural understanding, or their natural, I don't know, linguistic understanding, they might say hijr because the jim is mufakham or the jim is strong. No, but it's wrong. It's totally wrong to say hijr. Hijr, hijr. And also here, qadir, قدير. Now, the last case in the last situation in the case of ترقيق, when the ra has sukoon and it's preceded by a ya, Now you might tell me now, okay, but the ya is the second letter. I don't look at the second letter. I look at the letter before, and the letter before is مفتوح. So I should have said خير. So what is the answer for that?
Is the ya the exception?
The ya is an exception because I told you that we said here accept ya, other letter other than ya, because ya, why linguistically ya is a light letter, and this ya prevents looking at anything before it. So the ya is an exception. So here I don't consider a ya just as a second letter and I look at the letter before it. No, I look at the letter itself. I look at the ya itself. So the rule says when the ra with the state of sukoon and it has a ya before, it's preceded by a ya before, a soft ya, harf al-lin, I pronounce the ra lightly and I say خير لا ضير. Okay, let's practice those examples, inshallah. I'm gonna go to my list. Qasim.
Okay. Kareem. ريح.
ريح.
فرعون. فرعون.
حجر.
قدير.
عبد الرحمن. Sorry. Carry on.
خير. لا ضير.
Okay, عبد الرحمن.
كريم. ريح. فرعون. هجر. قدير. خير. لا ضير.
Very good, Junaid.
كريم.
When you don't have to carry on, stop with the sukoon.
كريم. ريح. فرعون. حجر. قدير. خير. لا ضير.
Very good. Arsalan.
كريم. ريح.
No, not ري. ريح. No, ريح. Very good.
فرعون. حجر. قدير. خير. لا ضير.
Very good. Abu Bakr.
كريم. ريح. فرعون. حجر. قدير.
قادي not قادي. قدير. دي.
قدير. خير. لا ضير.
Okay, سليمان.
كريم. ريح. فرعون. حجر. قدير. خير. لا ضير.
Okay. Our other Abdul Rahman.
السلام عليكم.
Assalamu alaikum. Abdul Rahman, mashallah, is one of my best students, and he made his ijaza just last week, And inshallah, after we finish this lesson, he's going to practice with you. So Abdurrahman is my second mujaz. Hopefully that they are going to be more, but inshallah, he's very good, very well qualified to practice with you, inshallah. Okay.
inshallah.
اقرأ الأمثلة عبد الرحمن.
طيب. كريم، ريح، فرعون، حجر، قدير، خير، لا ضير.
Very good. Okay, now our last slide here, or maybe our last rule. Just give me a second. Are you okay to cover those rules? Because we have to spend around 20 minutes or 15 minutes to explain this this rule here, or you would like to postpone that to next session. It's up to you guys. Abdurrahman, what do you think?
Yeah, I would prefer to. I don't have a problem either way, but I'd prefer to practice now and then cover them again next week.
So you prefer to practice now and to postpone this rule?
Yeah,
for...
postpone until next week. Yeah.
Okay. Just because those rules are a little bit confusing, I would also prefer to postpone that for next time, because here guys, please revise those rules. If you don't have access to this book, Abdurrahman, would you send now the link in this chat group, just for the brothers who don't have our who are not in our Tajweed group? So please send the link in this chat group, in this chat here, just in order for them to revise those rules, because we have some conditions here. And we are going to consider those conditions when we come to the situation in which you have two options. It's either mufakham or either muraqqaq. That's why we have to understand those conditions in order to understand why we have two options. So now we are going to stop here. In the next time, in the next session, we are going to cover the ra or the situation in which we have two options, either mufakham or muraqqaq. Before that, Abdurrahman. Okay, Abdurrahman will send the link soon. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now. So